There's a real sense of tension building around Rangers FC just now, and it's all tied to a transfer situation that looked promising not that long ago, but has taken a sharp and frustrating turn. Supporters have been keeping a close eye on the club's midfield plans, especially with the need to add energy and creativity in that area, and one name had started to gather real momentum behind the scenes. That name was Silus Anderson, a young midfielder whose rise has been catching attention across Europe, and for a while it genuinely felt like something could develop there. But the latest update has changed the picture entirely. Anderson has now committed his future to BK Häcken, putting pen to paper on a long-term deal that keeps him at the club until the end of 2029. From a Rangers perspective, that's not just a minor setback, it's a development that complicates everything. When a player signs a fresh contract of that length, it doesn't just signal loyalty, it strengthens the selling club's position massively, and suddenly any potential move becomes far more expensive and far more difficult to pull off. What makes this one sting a bit more is the timing. It wasn't long ago that reports suggested Rangers had already tested the waters with an offer during the winter window. The figure being discussed was around £3.5 million, a bid that was ultimately turned away. At that point, Häcken were believed to value Anderson closer to £6 million, already a significant gap, but not an impossible one to bridge with the right negotiations. Now, with this new contract in place, that valuation is almost certain to climb even higher, placing the player firmly into a bracket that demands serious financial commitment. Anderson's journey adds another layer to the story. He only arrived in Sweden in early 2025 after leaving FC Utrecht, and before that he had been developing within the system at Inter Milan. Despite that relatively short spell at Häcken, he has quickly established himself as a key figure, earning consistent minutes and showing the kind of composure and intelligence on the ball that clubs are always searching for. It's exactly the profile Rangers have been looking to add, a midfielder capable of dictating tempo, but also contributing in decisive moments. From the player's point of view, the decision to stay makes perfect sense. He's in an environment where he's trusted, where he's playing regularly, and where he feels his development is still accelerating. That kind of stability is hard to walk away from, especially at a stage in a career where game time and progression are everything. He's spoken about how much he's grown since arriving, highlighting the importance of consistent opportunities and the experience of competing in important matches, including cup finals and European fixtures. All of that points to a player who feels he's on the right path and isn't in a rush to move unless the conditions are absolutely ideal. For Rangers, though, it leaves a clear question hanging in the air. Do they continue to track Anderson and potentially return with a stronger offer down the line? Or do they shift focus entirely and look for alternatives who might be more attainable in the short term? Recruitment at this level is always about timing as much as talent, and in this case, the timing may no longer be in their favor. The club has to weigh up whether investing heavily in one target is the right move, or whether spreading resources across multiple areas would bring better balance to the squad. There's also the wider context to consider. Midfield is not the only area requiring attention, and with the next transfer window approaching, decisions made now will shape the squad for the season ahead. Missing out on a player like Anderson doesn't just remove one option, it forces a reassessment of the entire strategy. Scouts will already be working through alternative profiles, looking for players who can bring similar qualities, but finding that exact mix of potential, current ability, and availability is never straightforward. At the same time, this situation serves as a reminder of how quickly things can shift in the transfer market. One moment a deal feels within reach, the next it's slipping away due to factors completely outside the buying club's control. Contracts, valuations, player preferences, all of it can change the landscape in a matter of weeks. For Rangers, the key now is how they respond. Whether that means revisiting this pursuit later with greater intent or pivoting decisively towards new targets who can strengthen the squad without the same level of complication. While the situation surrounding Silus Anderson continues to dominate the conversation, there's another storyline quietly developing that could have just as much impact on the squad moving forward. The focus now shifts towards the right side of defense, where Max Aarons has found himself in an increasingly uncertain position at Rangers FC. What once looked like a move full of promise has gradually lost momentum, and as things stand, it's becoming harder to see a long-term future taking shape at Ibrox. When Aarons first arrived on loan from AFC Bournemouth, there was a genuine sense of excitement about what he could bring. His experience at a high level, combined with his pace and attacking intent from fullback, suggested he could be a key piece in strengthening the defensive structure. Early on, that expectation seemed justified, as he managed to establish himself within the rotation and looked comfortable adapting to the demands of Scottish football. There was a rhythm to his performances that hinted at consistency building over time. However, football rarely stands still, and a change in management has a way of reshaping everything. Since Danny RÖHL took charge, Aarons' role has shifted dramatically. Opportunities that once came regularly have become scarce, and the right back has struggled to maintain his place in the starting 11. In fact, his absence from league starts since late December tells its own story, reflecting a clear change in preference when it comes to team selection and tactical priorities. Part of the challenge has been the increased competition in that area of the pitch. The return to fitness of Dujon Sterling has provided an immediate boost, offering versatility and reliability across multiple defensive roles. Sterling's ability to slot into different positions has given the manager more flexibility, which naturally impacts players like Aarons who rely on a fixed role to build consistency. At the same time, the presence of club captain James Tavernier continues to be a major factor whenever he's available, bringing leadership and experience that are difficult to overlook. There's also been a broader reshaping of the defensive line. The arrival of Romain Perraud has added stability on the left side, reducing the need for tactical adjustments that might have previously opened space elsewhere. With the backline becoming more settled, the chances for rotation have naturally decreased, and that has left Aarons on the fringes during a crucial period of the season. Even though he's still managed to rack up appearances, the influence he once seemed capable of having has faded as the weeks have gone by. Looking ahead, the situation appears fairly straightforward. The loan agreement does not include any option or obligation to make the move permanent, and under normal circumstances, strong performances might have pushed the club to explore a deal regardless. But given how things have unfolded, there's little indication that such a move is being considered. Instead, the expectation is that Aarons will return to Bournemouth at the end of the campaign and assess his next step from there, with interest already beginning to build from clubs across Europe. What makes this particularly interesting is the contrast between his situation and the uncertainty surrounding the future of Tavernier. At 34 years of age, the captain is approaching the final stretch of his current deal, and a decision will soon have to be made about whether to extend his stay or begin transitioning towards a new era in that position. Despite his age, Tavernier has continued to deliver when called upon, contributing both defensively and going forward, which complicates the decision-making process for the club hierarchy. If an agreement is reached to keep him for another season, Rangers may feel that the right-back position is adequately covered, especially with Sterling providing depth and flexibility. That would reduce the urgency to enter the market for a replacement, allowing resources to be directed elsewhere. On the other hand, if the club decides it's time to move on, the entire dynamic changes. Suddenly, identifying a new first-choice right-back becomes a priority, and the recruitment team would need to act quickly to secure a player capable of stepping into a demanding role. All of this feeds into a wider picture of transition and planning at Ibrox. Decisions being made now are not just about immediate needs. They're about shaping the identity of the squad for the seasons ahead. Balancing experience with emerging talent, managing contracts, and reacting to missed opportunities in the transfer market all play a part in that process. And while some situations, like the one involving Aarons, may seem to be reaching a natural conclusion, they still influence the direction the club chooses to take as it looks to strengthen and evolve. Even beyond the immediate questions at right back, there's a growing sense that Rangers FC are entering a phase where every decision carries extra weight. The squad is not far away from being competitive, but it's those fine margins, the difference between depth and real quality, that could define how successful the next campaign becomes. Situations like the one involving Max Aarons highlight just how quickly a promising option can drift out of the picture when circumstances shift, and that forces the club to stay constantly alert in the market. There's also the financial side of things, which can't be ignored. Missing out on one target or deciding against a permanent deal frees up resources, but it also increases the pressure to spend wisely elsewhere. Rangers can't afford to gamble on players who won't fit the system or adapt quickly enough, especially with expectations remaining high both domestically and in European competition. Every signing needs to be calculated, not just in terms of ability, but in terms of how they complement the existing core of the squad. From a tactical point of view, the manager's influence is becoming clearer with each passing week. Danny RÖHL appears to favor players who can offer flexibility and consistency, which may explain why certain individuals have seen their roles reduced. It's not always about raw talent. Sometimes it's about how well a player fits into the structure being built. That reality can be harsh, especially for someone trying to establish themselves during a loan spell, where time is limited and every performance is under scrutiny. Supporters, meanwhile, are left trying to read between the lines. They've seen glimpses of quality from different players throughout the season, but they're also aware that the squad still needs refining. The uncertainty around key positions only adds to that feeling, as fans look ahead and wonder what kind of team will take the pitch when the next season begins. There's a mix of patience and expectation, knowing that progress takes time, but also believing that the club should always be pushing forward. And as the campaign edges closer to its conclusion, the focus will naturally intensify on what comes next. Contracts, transfers, and long-term planning will dominate the conversation, with every move being analyzed from every angle. For some players, it will mean new opportunities. For others, it will signal the end of their time at Ibrox. What's clear is that change is coming, and how Rangers navigate this period could shape not just the immediate future, but the direction of the club for years to come. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Whispers have begun to swirl around Ibrox, and if the chatter gathering pace in Glasgow proves true, Rangers supporters may soon witness the unveiling of a new focal point in attack. Word filtering through the rumor mill suggests that the club's next number 9 has arrived from Germany, a striker whose name is being quietly passed between agents, insiders, and supporters eager for a glimpse of what could be the next chapter in the club's forward line. The intrigue surrounding the move has only grown because of the man believed to be behind the decision. Manager Danny RÖHL, already under the harsh glare that comes with the Rangers dugout, is said to be preparing a bold move, handing the German import his debut sooner rather than later. Those close to the club hint that RÖHL sees the striker not merely as another option up front, but as a statement. Criticism has not been in short supply this season. Questions have been asked about the team's cutting edge and whether RÖHL's project can deliver the ruthless efficiency demanded by the Ibrox faithful. The potential introduction of a new number 9 from the Bundesliga circles is being viewed by some as the manager's answer to those doubts, a calculated gamble designed to shift the narrative. The striker himself remains something of a mystery. Scouts who have followed German football claim he possesses the kind of physical presence Rangers have been lacking, while others point to a sharp instinct inside the penalty area. If the rumors are accurate, RÖHL believes the player's hunger and direct style could fit the fierce tempo of Scottish football. For supporters, the prospect is tantalizing. Ibrox has long adored a proper center forward, the sort who thrives on crosses, scraps, and moments of chaos in the box. Should the German newcomer indeed pull on the famous number 9 shirt, he will arrive carrying both expectation and curiosity. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.